2026 is the 30th anniversary of Pokemon, and to celebrate, we absolutely should run through every generation. It's almost like a journey of generations. That's a sick name. But instead of being nice and relaxing with Pokemon, hell no! We pitting all the generations against each other. Between now and the end of the year, which I'm confident later this week, Generation 10 will be announced in some capacity. Count on it. We'll be rating every aspect about each generation's launch title based upon 10 grades. These involve region, Pokedex, battle gameplay, other gameplay, plot, music, post-game, characters, new additions, and difficulty. You can probably guess what we're starting with, right? Clearly, because if you can't read the damn title of the video, I wouldn't know how you got here. We kicking things off with Generation 1, through the lens of Pokemon Red. And after all these years, how does it still stack up? Wow, this ain't looking too hot already, but that's what happens when you play a 30-year-old game. So what I need you to do is to take the rose-tinted glasses off and let's get into this, alright? Day off? Alright. Oh, how you forgetting your own grandson's name? It's fine, I'm not gonna name him Assface or something. Anyway, we gotta pick our first Pokemon. Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Charmander. The classic trio. Since this is the 30th anniversary, it only makes sense to take what I originally picked. That, and it clears my name of overrated bias. See ya, Charizard. You would've sucked against Brock anyway. As we visit Viridian City, this is where the dated plot routes come to bite us in the ass. This man is throwing a tantrum because he hasn't had his coffee yet. How about you get out the way? If you don't let me on your private property, you better get a private view of my foot to your face. Now, it makes more sense in the Japanese version, where he's keeled over drunk as shit, but that's seen as too much for the English audience to handle. So we get this nonsense instead. I get you want to stop us, so we deliver Oak's parcel first, but get better material. After grabbing Oak's package and delivering his parcel, we finally get a move on with the game. We meet up with our rival Blue, who... Where did he get this level 9 Pidgey, while his Bulbasaur is still level 8? It's a bit of a scaling issue, because that's a tall task for us to match, and I barely defeated him after a few tries. But if I ever wanted to use interest in Pokemon for this battle leading up to Brock, what the hell am I supposed to use? Route 1 only has normal types being Pidgey and Rattata. Route 22 only adds a poison type in Nidoran, and Viridian Forest and Route 2 only add more bug types in Weedle and Caterpie. If you didn't start with Bulbasaur or Squirtle, you cooked against Brock. What are these available types leading up to the Rock-type Gym Leader? These are fucking terrible. Oh, there's also a Pikachu available in Viridian Forest. Did I stutter? They had to add Mankey in yellow to give Charizard stands an out from claiming that Charizard sucks in-game in red and blue. Newsflash, it's not bad. It's just atrocious early game. But you know us. We started with the field general himself, Shasta. After shoving a sprinkler down the throats of both of Brock's Pokemon, we can hope the available Pokemon get better the further we get on the next route. Ah, fuck. We've only really added 2 members to our team, Nidoran and Pidgey, but there's not much they can offer yet. But Mount Moon ain't much of a problem, unless you get off getting stopped for a wild battle every 6 seconds. It's a nice change of pace from the usual fields, cities, and forest. Me too, kid. Me too. Oh wait, I'm wearing pants. But this is 1996, so it's not like they could really fit many types of terrains and climates yet. We got our first taste of Team Rocket, which tastes like sweat and desperation. There's not really much reasoning behind why they're here in the first place. It's a lot of reasons why there's so much community lore about this game. But we exit the cave to see... Holy shit, where is the Pokemon variety? The only addition here is Ekans. I'm not about to sit down here and spend most of this video trashing a classic. I can tell you it does get better for what it's worth. The route up north has options while I grind against trainers before I face Misty. I have to, as only Oddish or Bellsprout are available before this fight, and I have my starter and a sample from the normal and poison pool I've been wading through. Didn't stop from Blue challenging me, and losing by the way, and this Rocket guy trying to recruit me to Team Rocket. Ain't that a shame? I know it's their first game, but that could have been an interesting addition to the plot to see the inner workings of Team Rocket and really see what they were planning throughout the entire game. Ah well, another ass kicked and another key item grabbed. Hang on for a sec. I wanted to get to Misty, but before I grabbed the SS ticket from Bill, I wanted to talk about the mechanics just a bit. Wandering with a water, a poison, and a flying type, who doesn't have any flying type moves at this point. Fun fact, Gust is a normal type in this generation for some reason. It came to my attention that if you've forgotten, the Psychic type is insanely broken because they were only weak to Bug type moves. They were supposed to be weak to Ghost, but a glitch prevented this from being the case. If you're keeping score, the only offensive Bug type moves were Leech Life, which was only 20 base power back then, Pin Missile, which hit for a 25 base power 2 to 5 times, and Twin Needle, another 25 base power move that hit twice. The two stronger moves were only learned by Beedrill, and bringing Beedrill against a Psychic type was like bringing a knife to a gunfight. Hell, would you even fathom thinking about getting that idea? Not like the Ghost types would have fared better with their 30 base power Lick, or a non-type matchup affecting Nightshade. The hell were they thinking? Because I'm stuck against this Slowpoke, which shouldn't be an issue. But here it is, kicking my ass because I don't have anything for Psychic types. But Misty ain't a problem like I once thought. Just a battle of attrition. Probably means I'm that much closer to a better move on Devontre or Alpha. I'll probably learn those soon, right? I gotta ask, do any of you spam the daycare as much as I did? Cause, you know, keep this between you and I, but that's what makes the game easier. Just spam the daycare. It's free levels. Don't let anything stop you. But hey, we gotta get to Vermilion City. And honestly, I'm just trying to clear out all the trainers and get as many new route encounters as possible. That's what I was trying to do, of course, but this Butterfree decided to drop a Sleep Powder and use the best type in the game against me. Now, if I didn't say it before, as much as I love Pokemon battling, and I'm happy this generation launched this strategic game, it's gotta have the worst battle mechanics out there. I'm stuck taking confusion after confusion because there's no cap to when I can wake up. And the moment I wake up, it puts me back to sleep again! I'm glad future generations fix this status to tolerable levels because this ain't it. Finally, Devontre is able to clean up the Butterfree. You ever gonna learn something new there, bird? There you go, that's what I'm talking about. Level 21 and you learned Whirlwind. I've been waiting for 9 levels for you to learn something other than 2 normal type attacks, and you learned Whirlwind. This is ridiculous. When do you get your next attack? Level 31? I might drop your ass for someone else at this rate. At least I know my boy Alpha's got my The hell is this? Nah, I'm not doing this. Alpha, take this Moonstone right now. Take it. Keeping you at this stage is a massive waste of my time. You get carried by the game's TMs. It's why you're the go-to Pokemon for speedrunners at Generation 1. But if it isn't evident already, the level up movesets for the first generation is literally nothing. There's no attacks. Like, what is this? What is going on? I have to run through almost 25 levels to get a flying type attack on a Pidgeotto. Where's the move Peck? Whose idea was this? I have so much dead weight on my team that I have a whole ass anchor strapped to my back. That's it. We're not wasting any more time. I got a Drowsy. I got an Oddish. Let's go abuse that daycare for free levels. What do you mean 26 only has Absorb? What am I supposed to do with that? That's only gonna give my opponents ASMR! Alright, just calm down. Everything's gonna be fine. We're on the SSN. It's so great. Though it isn't much different. It's more battling, but that's the point of this game. Progression through battling. There's nothing much I love better than the strategy of battle. It's why I like playing Pokemon so much. It's why I'm thankful for Generation 1 kicking this franchise off. Without it, I don't know what strategy game would have filled its shoes. I know there's critical hits and other RNG, but at least it's fair. Mostly. What? I'm stuck against Rap again? I'm about to crash land again if you don't release me! Really, it's only a struggle since 26 my gloom only has 20 absorbs. And I keep running into these sailors. I know it's a weak attack, but there's so many water types and it just doesn't want to end. The sailors keep coming.
You what?
If it wasn't for the battle in itself, this game probably would have had one of the worst scores out of all 9 generations. But hopefully that could be 10 by the end of the week. It single-handedly carries the game on its own, even with all the mechanics it bears. And I know I complain a lot about things, but it's the cornerstone of the series. And the fact that the only light in the dark in this game, that's saying something! After putting down Blue and his Raticate, which apparently it's community lore that you end his Raticate, we can finally reach the captain. And hey look! He's playing Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl! Oh, I keep looking. It's still there! Make it stop! You know, I always found this amusing, spamming this non-stop. Suppose it looks disgusting, but you keep looking at the vomit. You think it's gone, but no, it's still there. Maybe the SSN shouldn't have gotten our hopes up by putting hidden items in the kitchen trash cans. Maybe we wouldn't keep looking at all of them like this. Anyway, now that we have cut, we can finally get to Lieutenant Surge's gym. Why is nothing happening? Is this game that primitive that I have to go into the menu and manually click the... Oh, It's fine, just go through a few menus. I only need to... Right. Everyone's favorite gym puzzle. Actually, this one isn't even the worst in my opinion. But still, the idea of digging through the trash cans hoping the RNG is in my favor, I have to find the 2 buttons eventually. Alright, I got the first one. And the second one... What the hell is this? You know, for a game being released in 1996, there's really a lot to like about it. There are 1,000 other things wrong and exhausting about it, but I'll get back to that. I'm not trying to rip this game to shreds, but it's really not helping its case. I like the fact that this game doesn't hold your hand 100% of the time. How are you supposed to know that you need to backtrack to Cerulean City to get to Lavender Town through Rock Tunnel? I can't see shit! And even still, there's some amusing people scattered about the region. Just look at the silly people in Rock Tunnel. Hey man, how's it going? You weren't wearing a shirt a second ago. Where did you get... Wait, what are you doing? Why are you Brother, what? Don't try anything in the... Girl, this cave is lit up. What are you talking about? Costume players dress up as Pokemon? What kind of weirdo would do something like... Ah, shit. And the games give off that old charm. Just take a look at this magic trick. You can access your PC out of thin air. Anyway, not having a good idea where to go really gives off that sense of exploration that some of the newer games just don't have. The amount of hand-holding I see in modern Pokemon games kill the mood for me because it feels like I'm being talked down to. How would I know that I need to go into the game corner to find Rocket's secret hideout? How would I know how to solve the spinning arrow panels? How would I know that this item this dude drops is exactly what I need? Huh. Thanks, Department of Redundancy Department. All that leads us to is the big bad guy. Or the unknown good guy, depending on which story you're reading. Giovanni. Now, let's talk Team Rocket, since this is the 3rd time we're running into them. Yet we only know that they are trying to conquer the world. That's all we know plot-wise. It's definitely not the worst thing. It makes it cut and dry what you need to do. Defeat the 8 gyms and take down the evil team. Seems simple enough. Maybe the more we see of them, the more we'd understand them. But that also leads me to another thing. Giovanni has normal music. I know a wide variety of music didn't become a thing until years later, but you think you could have given him something to go the extra mile. Give this man some aura, cause his sprite ain't doing him any favors. The music I can't really complain about. I mean, it's bad in the sense that it's music from the Game Boy era, but it defies its limitations. Sure, they reuse tracks in multiple places, but that's due to the limited space on the cartridges. That isn't something you can outright blame on the game. Trust me, there's plenty you can blame on the game. There's not a track that I hate. It even sets the mood in a lot of places, such as giving a spooky feel in Lavender Town. It would have been nice, but hey, Giovanni is aura in other ways. But not with battling, because I knocked him down a level. Which leads us to Erica's gym. Hope this one will be more interesting. Hello? Police? This battle's a lot easier now that I have a flying type move on Devontre. What, you think he knows wing attack? Yeah, that's a good one. He still ain't learning any flying type moves. It's just the HM I threw his way. What else did you expect? At least we're done in this city, because Saffron awaits. And that's been blocked this entire time because these assholes were thirsty. Nintendo logic. It's so great. Now we get to the best part in the game, where the pace slows down to a screeching halt. Let me explain the pain. After getting the Silph Co from Giovanni, you can climb the Pokemon Tower where you find your rival on the second floor. You notice how he doesn't have his Raticate? Do you remember how I said you ended him? Well, here, he could be laying it to rest. You absolute monster. Beyond that, it's a trudge. Facing poison types before you reach to the top to help Mr. Fuji. You think you're done, but the real marathon has begun. See, both Sabrina and Koga's aces are level 43. The only way you're gonna grind up levels before them is clearing out all the available routes. That means going south from Lavender Town through all 3 routes leading to Fuchsia City from the east, and then back around through Cyclone Road. Now, normally, I'm somebody who enjoys battling, but when that's the only thing to do, it gets old. Especially when the only type they have is poison types! How am I supposed to level up my Pokemon evenly when every single trainer has the same type again and again and again and again and again? Make it stop! And nothing is breaking it up. It's more and more poison types. No story, no nothing. Just Ekans, Grimer, Coughing. If I see another biker with a poison type, I'm not just gonna crash out. It'll be a whole ass crash landing! Oh, finally! That took like 2 hours to clear out every single trainer. All of my Pokemon are mid-30s. I should be good for this poison type gym. And why the hell do you guys have psychic types? I am not kidding you. Majority of these trainers have psychic types. In a poison type gym. Constant, repetitive types. Fall by the wrong type in the poison type gym. None of this makes sense. And it's killing my enjoyment for this game. I'm so exhausted, I don't even want to play this game anymore. Well, at least this game has a sense of humor. I'd love to get to the next gym, but a rocket grunt blocks it until you clear out Silph Co, which is a great way to cover up one of the main anchors of this series. Why you sleep standing up, dude? Pfft. Pokemon nowadays has you going through fire and flames to save the world. It's like a whole ass anime. But back in the Dark Ages, it was collecting 8 badges, raising a team, or just your starter if you're a masochist, and defeating the evil team. Most of that was not connected, so you're doing them all separately, and that's the thing. The plot is okay, but it's just very disjointed. We were never told why Team Rocket was loitering in Mount Moon. Apparently, they were there to obtain fossils, but that doesn't accomplish anything in an overarching manner. Why does Giovanni have the Silph Co? To avoid ghosts in their attack of the Pokemon Tower, you say? But then why are they in the Pokemon Tower then? Why are they running amok in Silph Co? Most of this can be linked back to wanting to make money, but with how extravagant the evil teams are nowadays, it seems so mundane. There is this community idea that they are trying to find ways to stop Mewtwo, a Pokemon that they created in other Pokemon media, but apparently they didn't want to make that connection in this game. And that story goes that after creating Mewtwo, he escaped, and they know he's a threat to the world. So they are trying everything that they can do to stop him, even if it is illegal. Looking for fossils in Mount Moon? Maybe Mewtwo won't know what to expect from extinct Pokemon. The Silph Scope and the attack on the Pokemon Tower? Mewtwo was weak to ghost types if they caught them, and Mr. Fuji did work on the original Mewtwo experiment. The attack on Silph Co? Hell, it might be this lady. She gave me the TM for self-destruct while we're in a skyscraper. But as for Rocket, Silph's Master Ball would catch Mewtwo and end his threat 100% of the time. Who knows? Maybe that's why Rocket was recruiting members around Cerulean earlier. Is that why you asking me if I'm betraying Team Rocket? You stupid or something? We're stuck with the making money plot point, I guess. And in the end, it comes across as very generic. As most big battles have gone, the rival and Giovanni were not a challenge. I'm not even grinding levels at this point, and during this 30-10 run, I'm not using a cheat for tons of rare candies. Just not really having much of an issue still. With Silph cleared, now we get to the fun stuff. The Saffron Gym. Or rather, Gym. Because you gotta set yourself apart from the dojo, I guess. Whatever makes you sleep better at night. I get why people hate Surge's gym, but holy shit do I hate Sabrina's. I hear nobody talking about it when the topic for the most annoying gym puzzle comes up. It's probably because there's a guaranteed path and you could look it up, but you think I'd bitch out and use a guide? I ain't weak. We go in blind. And after almost an hour, we find Sabrina. Finally. And she's already defeated. I could have done that 50 minutes ago, but I spent it teleporting in circles. I think I'm gonna be sick. Oh, this familiar feeling. So they kicked me off the ship for throwing up on the captain, so we washed ashore onto Cinnabar Island. And let me tell you, it was quite the journey. It's a nice change of pace from the forest, fields, cities, and caves. I did have to spam repels, but that's what the Zubat and Tentacool memes come from. All this, yet I didn't have the same frustration with the trainers that I did leading to Fuchsia City. Probably because I didn't incessantly run into poison and psychic types, as water types are a lot easier for me to deal with. But the main thing is that I didn't run into solely water types. Even the island is a nice switch up. The gym's locked, so you gotta visit the mystery of the island. And you thought I was gonna talk about the Pokemon Mansion. No, we're talking about the Eastern Shore. Probably the most infamous glitch with Generation 1 is what lies on the end of the east side of Cinnabar Island. But it won't activate until you speak with Old Man Alcoholic back in Viridian City, who's sobered up at this point, and shows you his Weedle. Soon after, you can surf, and... Right, I can't do that unless I manually surf. Stupid primitive game design. Okay, now you can surf on the east edge of Cinnabar Island. This is where you can encounter Pokemon who are over level 100, which, apologies to ZA, Generation 1 already stole your thunder there. Or a strange amalgamation of a sprite known as Missigno. This monster does a number on your game save. It'll duplicate the 6th item in your bag for some reason, corrupt your Hall of Fame, and if you try to catch it... I said, if you try to catch it, you missed the Pokemon my ass. There we go. That's how you do it. And now, if you add it to your party... I said if you add it to your party... Shit, I think I softlocked the game. Just take my word for it. Everything goes haywire at this point until you release this mess far away from you. But now we can really get into the biggest mystery of Gen 1. The Pokemon Mansion. In the games, you run through it looking for the secret key to unlock Blaine's gym. But in the lore, it's where the Mew and Mewtwo experiment took place. In every form of Pokemon media, Rocket is tied back to this experiment. The anime, manga, but not the games for some reason. This was mentioned back when we were covering Silph Co, but the fact that there's so much interesting data strewn about the mansion of Mewtwo and Mew makes things feel so empty. The disconnect between the experiment and Rocket has to be one of the most disappointing things about this game. It would have made the storyline deeper. I mean, how the hell would you explain why South America is mentioned on one of the journal entries? And they still haven't even made a region based off of said continent. All I'm saying is that it's a missed opportunity. And I'll say it again. With all Team Rocket did throughout Kanto, it all aligns to stop Mewtwo. But nothing comes from it. And it all remains locked behind community lore. Which is why I built a story in my lore upon that, but that's a story for another day, not now. Back outside where the sun's shining on our face, and I really have to hand it to the developers. If there's one thing I thoroughly enjoyed about this game, it's the region. But what I like most about it is its layout. If you looked at this map without knowing, you wouldn't be able to pick out the starting town. Hell, at times, you ain't sure where you're gonna go next. It's a little annoying, but it keeps this player guessing. It's not the later region where the progression is completely obvious and extremely linear. Not gonna say what, because that's a rant for another day. But Kanto's progression has you travel in all sorts of places, and even forces you to backtrack at times due to roadblocks. Nonsensical roadblocks, but it gets you thinking. Your mind starts to groove. The gears start to click. I wish they used this as the building blocks for other regions. Oh, yeah, right. I doused-planed pretty easily while I was discussing Kanto, and the only thing noteworthy is how his gym involves trivia, but in Generation 1 you likely wouldn't have even noticed the machines that asked the questions, and instead talked to the trainers themselves. Make it more obvious what to do next time, so I don't gotta brute force everything myself! Speaking of Giovanni, or should I say his unknown identity, his name's on the statue right next to you, dude. Get with the program. But call it the finale to one of the weaker evil team storylines. What? I didn't say weaker evil team. Make sure you hear me correctly. It's quick work for the ground type gym, which most of the trainers were allergic to using ground types. Go figure. But nothing about Rocket, nothing about the past, nothing about Mewtwo, only a simple gym battle, and business like usual. You even need to go out of your way to learn he's disbanding Team Rocket, which sets the stage for the next generation. Overall, a weak finale. And it's not like I hate Rocket and the Giovanni character, it only felt so much was left on the table. Missed potential. Really, the characters tend to stand alone as no one really stands out. Most of the gym leaders stay stuck in their gyms offering nothing else to the story. Except for Giovanni, of course. Really, the only character that really shines is the rival, Blue. But that's for other reasons. It's on full display when you head over to Victory Road. Then I'll whip you as a warm-up for the Pokemon League, he says. I long for the days that there was a legitimate rivalry between you and your rival. You wanted to wipe the floor with this guy, not this friendly battle. I mean, you are friends, don't get me wrong, but it's one of those things where he's just so competitive that it brings the fierceness of each battle you have with him just straight up to 11. And this dude don't hold back either. But with Blue defeated, he heads off for the league as well. And there's one final chapter to the story we have to get to. Victory Road. The final frontier. And it only gets harder from here. The first time I ever experienced this puzzle, I was straight up confused. These walls, they blocked my path. How was I gonna clear this final cave? You know, it took a second, but just push the rocks, dude. They ain't there to look pretty. The trainers here have a wide variety of Pokemon, which is nice to really get your entire team involved. Some of them have interesting quirks. This shit was allowed in a Pokemon game? But obstacles aside, it really sets a standard for Victory Roads moving forward. That leaves us with the Elite Four. Now, you know, I really haven't had too much trouble with any part of Generation 1, and if we don't include the bullshit mechanics like the sleep status, or trapping moves, or even the critical hits being tied back to speed, which those are all awful. I never had too much difficulty with any trainer. It's all about the team you build for the game. Had I started with Charmander, for example, the difficulty would have been amped up tenfold. That's due to poor game design and less of the trainer's difficulty themselves. It wasn't until the Elite Four where I started to encounter problems. Let me break down the rules I set for myself. I can only use the one revive I have, and I have to use healing items sparsely while in battle. Lorelei puts you on your toes because she's an ice-type trainer, yet most of the ice types in this game are all water types as well. You can forget using your fire type, otherwise they're gonna get washed out. I know this firsthand. Battling this way brings you so many competitive situations. She sends out her final Pokemon Lapras, while I have Vayne, my Flareon, out, and I expect a water type move here. But I'm not 100% sure on switching in Haiku, my Executor, out, since she could use an ice type move. I'm risking it all on Kicks, my Hitmonlee's special stat right now. I know that has to be pretty high. It's based on modern day special attack. Well, that's mistake number 1. Alright then, Haiku. You can handle this. If you ain't fast enough, you're bulky enough to handle one ice-type move, then you can heal back up with Mega and it's a critical hit out of nowhere. I guess we're winning this war of attrition with Shasta, my Blastoise. Thinking about it, I don't need Kicks the rest of the way. He was only useful against Lorelei. But Haiku? That's gonna be a problem. He would have held his own against Bruno and Agatha. It should be fine, though. Devontre, my Pidgeot, can handle Bruno's fighting types, while Alpha, my Nidoking, handles his other Pokemon, as well as Solo and Agatha. All that matters is my Pokemon surviving as much as they can against Lance. I'm gonna need all the ammo I have against the champ. We gotta leave an impression somehow, then. What if I challenge him over my shoulder? We won't even face him. That means the aura between both of us at this moment exceeds more than you could possibly imagine. But can we bring this smackdown and survive? Gyarados. Oh boy. I remember struggling against Blue's Gyarados before Victory Road as well. Haiku would have been great to have right now. He would have resisted all of Lance's attacks while slowly using Psychic to bring Gyarados to its lack of knees. Plan B is going sideways because Shasta can't seem to really make a dent. Hyper Beam gives me an opening to switch to Alpha to unleash a Thunderbolt, and now things will get moving. What do you mean it barely lived? That's fine. It got paralyzed. There's no way it used Hydro Pump. We ain't living that. We're back into this back and forth, but Devontre eventually gets the job done here. He actually gets deep into this battle, which is a godsend because I need all the value I can get until his valiant effort gets cut short by a stray Hyper Beam from his other Dragonair. Sounding the alarm, I revived Alpha, and we need every chance to use this Ice Beam. The funny part about all of this is, we experienced the exact same way how Twitch plays Pokemon defeated Lance's Dragonite. ATV the Venomoth survived because the AI knows its weaknesses. So it goes for a Psychic-type move against the Poison-type Venomoth, or in my case, Alpha the Nidoking. Except that Psychic-type move is Agility, which don't do shit. You really played yourself there, dog. But with only 3 Pokemon left for the champion, who turned out to be Blue, hilarious, we have an uphill battle. This is what I mean by the difficulty being turned up to 11. I'm only hovering around levels 47 through 50, while Blue's fighting with Pokemon around level 60, and stronger. It's gonna be tough, but we can survive. Just give me a decent Blizzard Shasta. Hell yeah! Now we just need to handle this Alakazam. I'm afraid of this one, because Psychic types are strong as hell. See what I mean? Clean one-shot critical hit on Blastoise, and we're down to 2. We need to save Alpha as much as possible, and getting a burn on Rhydon is perfect in this situation, because we can slowly defeat the Rhydon without taking too much physical damage. However, this is what I feared. Gyarados. One shot at taking this down using Thunderbolt, but that one shot turns into a one-shot. We are defeated. For now. In the second round, we clear out everything, making the correct decisions. We don't even lose a Pokemon by the start of the Lance battle. This time, I'm prepared. We're straight up facing him this time. I need to chip damage on the Gyarados before bringing in Alpha, and living on 4 HP, Devontre just does that. Ain't stopping me this time. A job well done by Devontre on his way out, and since we only lost 1 Pokemon, obviously I'm going to revive him right back with my only available revive. We have a full party this time. And with Haiku, Alakazam and Gyarados will be better handled. And he got blown the fuck up by Hyper Beam. Oh boy. At least he'll get the reach up. And what the hell is he still moving for? These Generation 1 mechanics bother me so much. Whatever, I got what I need. A swift thunderbolt, and it's smooth sailing from here. Especially that I froze his Venusaur. That is hilarious. I didn't really cover it much, but it really is a bullshit status. With that status in tow, we have completed Generation 1. But with the complete experience of the game in the books, how does it stack up? We have to cut it slack because it was the first game, but there are a lot of ways it could go. These older games are a lot tougher to grade. Probably because it was the very first game, so there had to have been a lot of trial and error. As I've been repeatedly saying, the Game Boy likely limited a lot of the decisions the developers could make. Think about like cutting things in order to make things fit, the graphics and music being as low quality as they were. So we're only going to be analyzing them from how they play from the Game Boy point of view. I want to bring something to light off the rip. The Pokédex and available Pokemon is probably one of the worst in the series. The absolute imbalance of types is very obvious if you look at the list. The Pokédex is drowning in normal, poison, flying, and water types, but lacks severely everywhere else. There was only one dragon and one ghost type family, and even then they both had a secondary flying type for a Dragonite and poison type for Gengar. And the biggest atrocity is with the many-mentioned Charmander. If you pick Charmander as your starter, you made the game 1,000 times harder for yourself. All available Pokemon leading up to Brock all get resisted by his Pokemon, and that's just for the first gym. Honestly, for the lack of variety, this has to get a 3 out of 10. I'm sorry, you can't keep your rose-tinted glasses on when covering the Pokemon battles themselves. Can't deny that the battles in general are fun, but the gameplay of them when you really get into the raw data is so damn frustrating. Bind, Wrap, Fire Spin, aka the trapping attacks, are anti-competitive. The sleep and freeze status are so poorly integrated, and luckily I didn't have to experience freeze myself. Sorry, Blue. Confusion is inconsistent, critical hits are tied to speed, giving faster Pokemon an advantage. It's just a mess. But I think the biggest sin here is that certain Pokemon are useless, because their level up moveset is barren of anything. There should be no reason that I should be stuck with 3 normal type moves, not even learning a flying type attack until level 31 with Pidgeot. There should be no reason that I immediately throw a Moonstone on Nidorino. There should be no reason so many Pokemon are not even worth the second thought since they have 0 power in their moves. All I'm saying is that the battles themselves are fine. It's the structure of the battles that give it the score of 4 out of 10. The gameplay outside of battle, not terrible. You don't run into any performance issues unless you search for them on the east shore of Cinnabar Island. The graphics for the console that it's played on, it's fine, I guess. Sound design doesn't get annoying. There are times where you don't know where to go, which I know people complain about that in the modern games, but that's an overcorrection. Nobody ever tells you to double back through Cerulean City to reach Lavender Town via Rock Tunnel. Giving it a 7 here, because I think that's fair when you look at the entirety of the other gameplay. Speaking of sound design, the music is not something you should complain about either. I guess you could say that it gets repetitive with a lot of locations sharing the same themes, but the whole point of an OST is to set the mood of each location. A cave having a theme that gives it the sense of wandering through darkness is what you want. Lavender Town is perfect in this sense because it's so eerie. You can't even deduct any points on it for being 8-bit. Giving it a score of 7 out of 10 is fair since you have to judge it in the capacity of what limitations that it had. And those limitations are shown in full force with the region. Fields, forests, caves, seas, islands, cities, towns. Yes, they are generic, but on the Game Boy, you have to at least give it credit somewhere. It's a decent variety for such an old game. Maybe it shows its age in Fire Red and Leaf Green, but that's not what we're tearing right now. The progression through the region leaves you on your toes. Where do you have to go next? That mystery is always welcomed. Even though they could have done a better job guiding you, you have to give it at least a score of 8 out of 10. I want to give them a better score of the characters though. I can only give them a 6 out of 10 because it's not terrible, but it could be better. None of the characters outside of Oak and Blue really interact at all. The gym leaders are interesting as standalones, but they don't offer much. Giovanni had the best chance at carrying this category, but the disconnect between the mystery of Mewtwo and Rocket gave his character no depth beyond what Rocket actually was doing in this game. That's the problem, the lack of depth. It's the same story for the story. I see the vision, but I have to ask again. Why is this the only form of Pokemon media that did not tie Mewtwo to Team Rocket? That would have been a brilliant plot to uncover, but instead it's a generic catch Pokemon, defeat 8 gym leaders, defeat evil team, and become champion. It's bland. All Rocket is defined by is making money and causing chaos. That's it. The Pokemon Mansion sheds some light on the Mewtwo experiment, but it doesn't go any further. Mewtwo is randomly found in Cerulean Cave nowhere near the Pokemon Mansion, so none of it makes any sense. I can only give it a score of 5 out of 10. This might be weirdly controversial, but just hear me out. I have to give the new additions a score of 10 out of 10. But why? I talked so much shit about this game so far. Why give it a perfect score? Well, that's because it's the first game. It set the foundation of what's to come. While everything is either terrible, battle and gameplay, bland, the plot, or average, the characters, everything it introduced is something noteworthy. It's why Pokemon is the massive franchise it is today, because of Generation 1 being that first step. However, the post-game I have to give a score of 2 out of 10. I want to go even lower, but the idea of catching them all runs true. Other than re-battling the Elite Four, team building, battling your friends, finishing the Pokedex is all you can do. Everything else has been completed, so the lack of post-game is very evident here. And for the difficulty, I have to give it an 8 out of 10. It's not hard if you can grasp it. Really, things are only difficult if you set rules against yourself. The level scaling isn't drastic until you reach the end of the game, but it's the end of the game, so it's supposed to be difficult. And even still, that took some strategy on my end to figure out which Pokemon were needed, which Pokemon I needed currently, and certain move selections. It's all a process that shouldn't be hard if you know what you're doing. That gives Generation 1 a score of 60 out of 100, which, I think that's fair, because the games really didn't age that well, but they still hold true to the franchise's foundation. If you expected me to give it a higher score because, it's the first games and nobody can change that and the new games suck, well, sucks to suck. It's 2026, and the 10th generation is just right around the corner. If you're still being a Gen 1er 30 years after the fact, I don't know what to tell you, other than get the f*** over it. But for the ones who ain't stuck in the past, I think the game can be defined by a great foray into a new idea that can be built upon in so many different ways. By itself, it doesn't really stand out at all. It has such horrible execution on certain mechanics, but those can be updated as time moves on. You can always improve next time, and that's exactly what Generation 1 accomplished. A score of 60 out of 100 stands between them all. And with Pokemon Day this week, we're likely going to get another generation to add to that list. I'm not sure if I should stream the rest of the generations that we're doing in 3010 or not. Do you think that's a good idea? I mean, that way we can discuss them all live. Let me know what you think. We'll really see where each generation lies at the end of all of this, but for now, you can say that Generation 1 is currently number 1. For now.